This is Hart, and these two bar stools I'll be recovering today. So the tools I used include a drill with a screwdriver bit, staple gun, staples, and a pair of scissors. I'm just using 100% cotton curtain fabric. It's quite thick and feels like it would be durable on a chair. Underneath these chairs are 4 screws. And so I'm just going to take my drill with the Phillips screwdriver and unscrew each of them. 4 screws off. Now when I lift this chair, the cushion should still be easily removed. That would be a should be, but isn't. There we go. Sorry for turning my back to you. Now, I could remove this cushion, but I think what I'm going to do instead is just peel this rough stuff up and leave it because it's nice and tight as it is. And leave it. Now, both of these cushions are cleared off. Now this fabric curtain that I've cut, in hindsight, I should have trimmed off the stitched edges because I can actually see the stitching on my cushions. So if you're doing something off of a curtain, make sure that any hems are cut off so it's not captured on the edges. Okay, so there's 4 essential corners to this cushion. And the way I'm approaching this, and by the way, I deleted all the background sound because I can't stand the sound of that staple gun, so I assumed you guys couldn't either. But there's a backside that has these 2 little V shapes that nests into my particular cushion. I wanted to attack those first. Then what I did was I stapled the middle and then I tightened around those 3 points. So I take the 2 edges I care about the most to make sure it has a nice clean edge to fitting against the back of my cushion, the back of my chair. So I take both edges up, get a nice corner on those 2 edges. I pull up into the center, and then I feel around the cushion to staple into the sides. Now I'm on to the next part, which is more round, and that's easier for me to manage. So I can just take both of these rounds and get comfortable by stapling those up. It just means there's a little curve to it, my funky language. I go to the middle, and now I'm just pulling it and focusing on how it feels as I round the edge with my fingers. That's, I don't want to say it's how it feels, but you can feel when it's smooth versus when it's bumpy. And so that's why you see me rub my hand from the top of the cushion to the bottom of the cushion so I don't have to keep flipping the cushion. And then I know, I use way too many staples. I am not an upholsterer, so I am not an expert at this. But all that means is that if I can do this, you can do this. And I'm simply using a curtain that has a really cool fabric on it. And it's very thick, and the mistakes that I made, let me walk through that really quick as we're going through here. I just ran out of staples. So this is a T150 staple gun. There's a little spot down at the bottom on the back where you can push down and pull out that slide. I grab the T150 staples, I just pull out the row of staples. And on the back of the staple gun, you make sure that the pointy parts are at the bottom and the flat parts at the top slides right in. And then you do exactly the same with the pressure part that keeps the spring and the staples towards the front. And then you just slide that in to create the tension you need. Push down, in, and up, and it locks it back into place. Just in case that's the first time you've filled a staple gun. Okay, so we have 2 more sides to do, as you can see. So all the corners are down. I just go into the middle part, and then as I've been doing before, smoothing it out. So rather than just repeating myself while I'm sitting here doing the folds and smoothing it out, I am far from an upholsterer, but I like to look up the origin of words sometimes, and I learned that upholstery, it comes from the English word upholder. And so those are the artists or artisans who actually did the holding up of goods. And so I actually thought that was kind of a cool history of the word, is that upholder turned into upholstery. Okay, so flipping it over, I see that there's a couple of areas that I want to be a little bit smoother. And so I just tug, and this one, there was no way I was going to make it smoother unless I remove the staple. But don't do as I do. Use a staple remover, not the edge of your scissors, because goodness knows I don't want anybody to get hurt following those kinds of quick things that I do sometimes instead of doing it the proper way. But I'm trying to stay out of your way. That's why I'm reaching around and doing the staples, but do the staples in the order that you find most convenient. Oh, I got my nice little corner there again, and sorry for the hammering there, but I was using the head of my scissors as a hammer. So, maybe it's good to have a small little hammer present in case you need to get the rest of a staple in there. Or I could have just removed the staple safely and pushed that staple back in there. But I'm on that last corner, so I'm now getting anxious. I want to get this one done. First cushion's done. This is the second one, so I'm almost done with this project. But I'm sure that when you go to do yours, all material thicknesses are a little bit different. The texture of the material is a little bit different. The way the material runs, it's more likely to pull one way versus another way. Take that into consideration. Think about it when you're ripping paper or ripping material. Which way is the rip point? And then here at the last part, for all of those of you who were so obsessed with making sure that you had the perfectly square or perfectly rectangular cut, or have to have everything super neat, you may not want to do it this way, but I just wanted to trim off the excess. That way it didn't bunch up underneath the chair, and because I just don't need all that excess material after the point where all the staples are. And so I'm just trimming about 1/4 inch or more outside of where the staples are. And I'm not all too worried about the perfection of how it looks, because people aren't going to see the bottom of my chair unless they flip it over. And what are they doing flipping over my flipping chairs? Well, anyway, now you can see the top part. Ooh, there's one little spot I need to fix. Yeah, and you can see how easy it is to just tug and pull until you like the way it looks on top. That's why you see me flipping it upside down and right side up and checking it out, is just to make sure I like the way it looks. Now, something that I did learn, and you'll see this here in a second, is my material is facing 2 different directions on the chairs. I'm not going to undo it and then redo it, but just make sure that your material is facing in the direction you want it to face for whatever it is you're upholstering. And now I'm just going to go ahead and screw on the back. So I'm using one chair, so I don't have to bend over so far, to hold the other chair, because I happen to have 2. And there is a back to my cushion. That's what I just pointed you to. So I snug it up all nice to the back. As you remember, there were 4 screws that I need to screw in, but I'm not going to bore the crap out of you by having you watch me do all 4 screws. And what you see me doing here is tucking any excess material underneath that wood frame. That way it doesn't flip out, so no one could see that if they bent over or were 2 years old. So I just grab my screw and screw it in each one of the 4 spots that I originally took them out in. And that's pretty much it. I'm almost done here. And so I just want to take a second to say thanks for hanging out with me. It is kind of fun doing things for yourself in your own new home, and or if you're doing this for someone else. And now when I see these chairs, I'm going to have a special kind of fondness to them. So hugs and love, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.